hike up my pants. We're trimming that. Okay. All right. Well, hello. Welcome to Grand Forks Social Services.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Jenna. I'll be helping you out. Can I get your name?
I'm Marcy.
All right. Marcy, when were you born?
I was born in May 16th, 1996.
All right. And where?
I'm here in Grand Forks.
Okay. All right. Well, Marcy, what brings you in here today?
Over the years, I've just had a lot of problems with drug and alcohol abuse, so that's led to me being currently unemployed and homeless.
All right. Okay. And let's see here. I have a couple questions just to get to know you a little better. Are you married, single?
Nope, I am single. I don't have a steady relationship at all right now.
And so you're homeless. Where do you stay at night?
I have this local gay community. I've been staying off and on with for the past so long.
Okay, just kind of staying in someone's apartment or something?
Yeah, nothing secure right now.
Okay. And speak English. Would you say you're Caucasian?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into your background quick. What was your childhood like? How was your family?
Well, both of my parents were addicted to drugs and alcohol, so it got a little physical abuse and emotional, so that's kind of what my childhood was like.
Did you ever see any services when you were younger?
Nope.
Okay. When did the abuse stop?
It kind of stopped. My father died at the age of 37. Well, that was a little bit after. When I was 14, they kicked me out of the house because they suspected that I was gay.
Okay. And how would you define yourself?
I would define myself as bisexual, not
Okay.
gay.
All right, that's good information for me to know. Were you referred to come here, or you seek services before?
Nope, I actually self-referred in this.
Okay, how did you hear about us?
Just through talk and
Okay.
stuff, through mostly the gay community.
Okay, well, how about we take a minute to walk through a normal day in your life? What would start from the beginning to the end? What would you do?
Not much happens. Well, right now I've been trying to keep clean, so right now hasn't been any drugs and alcohol, but before I usually start out with that with some of the people that I'm involved with, and since I don't have a job, I usually don't do anything. I've been trying to look for places to work, but people don't seem to want me, so I just usually hang out with the gay community off and on, and that's about it.
Have you run into the criminal justice system at all? Had any problems legally?
I
with drugs and
have.
alcohol?
I do have a couple charges pending against me due to a number of bounce checks I've written over the past several months.
Okay, but nothing with the drugs or alcohol?
No.
Okay, that's good. It's good that you're sober. How long have you been sober for?
7 days.
That's great. All right. Flip here in my notes. All right. Well, have you had any issues among your friends? Have there been any fights or any altercations that make it more difficult to stay there?
No, not really. I have had some history of sexual relationships with older men, and they've been pretty abusive to me, but that's kind of how I've survived over these past 7 years since I was kicked out of home. But so it's mostly just been issues with older men and sexual partners that I've had to deal with.
Okay. Let's see. So let's just get into your use of alcohol and other substances. When you were using, how often would you use?
Almost every day.
You think it was more than once a day?
Yeah, I tried quite a few things, so it wasn't just one thing every day, I would say.
Okay, and then how long has this been going on, as a whole? When did you start using?
I started alcohol when I was 14, and then I began using drugs and marijuana for starts at 16, and then that's when the drugs took off.
Okay, and then as I went over before, so there is, our confidentiality agreement that we have here at our agency. So this information, just to repeat, we do not tell anything unless you're going to harm yourself or someone else. We are mandated reporters. But these next questions might be, a little harder for you to answer just because it is not illegal in the United States. But I'm wondering, where do you get these drugs? What is the source? Is it a friend?
It's never really from somebody I know. It's kind of all of my friends. They've never sold drugs, but they know of random people who do. And then so I've never had a solid provider. It's always been kind of on the side.
Okay, yeah. And then we have things that trigger you to use. So if you say you've been sober for 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
and if there was one or two things that would drive you to drink or something like that, what would you say it would be?
I would say just what really I think starts it is just stress or I feel kind of lonely sometimes because I feel like I am on my own, so that it's kind of nice to have it because
Reduces those feelings
yeah.
for you. And because you're sober, do you want to stay sober? Is that your goal?
I want to, just because I'm kind of thinking I haven't gotten any trouble with it yet, but I have seen a lot of people get in trouble, and that's not what I want to do, but these 7 days have been hard, and that's just what I'm kind of thinking about.
No doubt. Okay, move on here, let's see. So, have you had any problems with anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder? Have you had any, diagnoses?
I haven't been diagnosed at all, but sometimes I feel really down, I guess you could say, but I've never been to a doctor that would tell me, so I guess I'm not really sure.
Okay.
It could be a possibility.
Do you ever have any thoughts of hurting yourself, hurting other people, just thoughts, not any follow-through?
Sometimes I think about it when, like, I'm feeling really lonely or haven't had any, so to say, drugs in a while.
So, tell me what would you think? Have you ever attempted to do anything? Is there any?
I've never really attempted. I've just had kind of like feeling, so.
Just kind of felt down.
Yeah.
You haven't had any plans? How often would you say you are at this point?
I wouldn't say it's a regular thing, but it has been there, like, about every month or so when I'm feeling really down.
And are all these thoughts more directed towards you or someone else?
It's more to myself. I don't really have anything against anyone else. It's just me kind of going back to like just being lonely and myself.
Okay. As a Caucasian in the United States, I'm not going to think that there's all that many cultural issues, but how is it to hang out with a society and a community that is not represented as much in the United States?
It's hard sometimes.
Do you get like the brunt of the, what people say, you hear all that?
Yeah, people do make comment towards me because they know we are like the gay community, and it kind of like goes back to that was like the sole reason why my parents kicked me out. So yeah, it is hard, and I feel like I look down against a lot of people just because some people are accepting, but there is also a lot that isn't.
Do you have any spiritual practices? Are you religious at all?
No, I've never really attended church or anything like that before. My parents weren't religious at all, so I never became to be.
Okay, and then let's get into some activities.
Okay.
We're going to learn a little bit more about you and how you feel, and what you think of your family. Have you ever heard of an eco-map before?
I have not.
Okay, well what we're going to do is we're going to create one. So this is you. And what an eco-map is an assessment tool we use for the conflicts, different support systems in your life. So basically the institutions, for starters, I know that the people you hang out with, so your friends, and I know that one out here will be your family. Is there any other groups in your life?
Just my friends and family, and like groups like other people, or other than past bad relationships, I wouldn't say anything else other than that. No.
Well, what we can do here is this is more of a broad overview, and this probably won't be as helpful as the next activity that we'll do. But this one, it's easy to, as a whole, describe how your family, how do they make you feel? Just your family as a whole.
I'm not very good. I'm not really in contact with them. My sister, I would describe it as fair relationship, but it's not much contact at all, and I don't speak with my mother at all.
So, conflictual, distant, and then with your friends?
I would say it's a good relationship. I mean, we're all mostly in the same boat, so we help each other out.
All pretty close. If you your friends. I don't think I'm even doing this Eagle map right, honestly. All right. Okay, so we did the equal map. And next, what kind of goes hand in hand with it is a genogram.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. Mostly it's about your family.
Okay.
So just tell me as much as you know. I know that you've been through some stuff, so you probably don't know all the background, but so let's start. Here we have you. Well, let's start with your parents.
Okay.
So what is your dad's name?
My dad's name is Jim.
Okay. And you said that your dad died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when was that?
That was when I was 15, so
Okay,
6 years ago.
All right, and then we have your mom. What's her name?
Her name is Susan.
All right, how old is your mom?
She is 40.
You're 21. Do you have any siblings?
Yep, I do have an older sister,
What's her name?
Jana.
And her age?
She is 24.
Oh. Okay, and then do you know about your grandparents on both sides?
I don't. I know of my mom's side. Those are, I'm not sure. I don't really talk to them much, but I know them more of my dad's side.
Yeah.
That one's,
Do you know their names?
Alfred is father. And then Jan.
Do you have any idea how old they are?
No.
No?
I have no
Okay.
idea.
And then we'll start going to your dad here. Do you know their names?
He never talked about them. He just said they were very mean, and so I don't think he even had a relationship with them. So I honestly don't know anything about them. They just
Yeah. Something like that. All right. Well, does your mom have any siblings?
Yep, she does have 2 younger brothers.
Okay, what's their names?
Henry
Okay.
and James.
Any thoughts or any knowledge on how old they are?
Yeah. 36 is Henry, and then 32.
Does your dad have any siblings?
He does not. He is the only child.
All right. Well, let's get into it. How is your relationship with your mom's grandparents?
Well, I don't really have a relationship with them anymore. I did talk to them like every now and then, but ever since I got kicked out and resented from my parents, they stopped talking to me as well.
And how do you have any relationship with Henry or James?
That kind of goes the same with them too. I don't think my mom has like that good of a relationship with them either anymore, at least that I know of. So I mean, I guess I don't really know what goes on in the family anymore.
Yeah, this is going to be harder, but I mean, if we base it back before, maybe we could what you think about that. But how about your sister? What are your thoughts on her?
Our relationship is fair.
Okay.
I don't really like go to her for everything, but we don't like hate each other and we don't like
Yeah.
not talk.
I mean, you
so it's
still have
okay.
conversations.
Yeah.
And then anyone else in your family have any history of drug or alcohol abuse?
Well, both my parents and my dad's parents and my grandpa of my mom's side. That's not the grandma. And I think my two uncles, they're not like, it was never as bad as my mom or grandpa, but since they were like exposed to it, it's
Mhm.
been kind of on and off for them, but never too severe.
All right. Any history of anxiety, depression, other psychological problems?
I think my mom, she had something going on with her, but I don't really know what certain it was. She seemed kind of down as well from time to time, so maybe she had depression, but
Not
it was
diagnosed.
not diagnosed, no.
Okay. All right. Other than that, I know it's hard for you to put words to your family, not seeing them for so long. I think it's great that you're still in touch with your sister. Then I have one last activity for you, and it is just about the substance use. So this one is specifically on alcohol. So as we learned about your family, and if you know that it's in your family history, we're just going to do a little questionnaire. So this is the Alcohol Use Disorders Identification Test. A simple way to screen and identify people at risk of alcohol problems. So now we know that you have used alcohol, you have drugs and other substances as well. But here we have a few questions. So I'll just ask them out loud and then read the things. So how often do you have a drink containing alcohol? Never, monthly or less, 2 to 4 times a month, 2 to 3 times a week, 4 or more times a week. We're gonna do this before you were sober.
Okay. I would say 4 or more times a week.
Okay. How many drinks containing alcohol do you have on a typical day when you're drinking?
I would say 2 to 5 or 6.
Okay. How often do you have 6 or more drinks on one occasion? Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly, daily, or almost daily?
I would say weekly.
How often during the last year have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you have started? Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly, daily, or almost daily?
It would go from weekly to daily. And maybe daily.
Okay.
Daily.
And how often during the last year have you failed to do what was normally expected from you because of drinking? Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly, daily, or almost daily?
Oh, weekly.
Okay. Just gonna flip to the second page. How often during the last year have you been unable to remember what happened the night before because you had been drinking?
Weekly.
How often during the last year have you needed an alcoholic drink first thing in the morning to get yourself going after a night of heavy drinking?
Daily. Or almost daily.
How often during the last year have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after drinking?
Probably weekly.
Have you or someone else ever been injured as a result of your drinking?
Yes.
Yes, but not in the last year. Yes, during the last year.
During the last year.
Has a relative, friend, doctor, or another health professional expressed concern about your drinking and suggested you cut down?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, but not in the last year. Yes, during the last year.
During the last year.
All right, so I will add these up. Okay, so your score is about 28. And there isn't much of a thing at the bottom to explain you, but it says a total score of 8 or more indicates harmful drinking behavior. So from here, we took this little quiz, and I know that you've been sober, but did you believe that when you drank that it was harmful to you or someone else?
I feel like, yes, it was, but I just enjoyed it so much that I let it go on for so long.
Yeah, but you just, as long as you recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, we can try to set up, do you want to come back to meet again?
Yeah.
I know you referred yourself, so we can try to set you up with some resources to help you. I know that there are things in the community for helping setting up interviews, so you can practice those to get a job. I know some colleagues who can have, get some interviews set up for you. There's also different things in the Grand Forks area that will provide you with interview clothing. So we can get you set up with all of that, but how about we start with a basic goal before our next one.
Okay.
So I know that staying sober might be hard, especially if something arises, but is there any specific goals that you want to meet by the end of our meeting, however long that may be?
I would like to stay sober. Yeah, I'd say that would be a biggest goal. And
Do you think that's your most achievable goal, or is there something smaller or any other types of goals you have?
well, I would like to work on not being unemployed, so maybe go to places and get an application, I guess.
I think that is a great goal. Do you have any problems with transportation? Do any of your friends that you hang out with have a car?
No car. I try to walk, so I'd like to stay close to where my gay community is, but I try to take the bus if I have enough money or if it's there on time. But
Okay.
that's the only.
Yeah, as long as have some way to get to the job, as long as you're walking and you take the bus or have someone come pick you up, But that is probably, as soon as you get a job, transportation is going to be a big key. So we can have that working on for next time. But I think going and getting an application is a perfect goal. Just getting them, filling them out, and then we'll probably be able to meet, go over them. I could probably set you up with some resources for people who, specialize in going over interviews and applications. And so I think that's great. There's going to be places around you that you want to work. What we could do is you could come up with a list of different places of applications you want to get. You could bring them in. If you feel up for it, you could just go get those applications right away. But yeah, for next time, applications it is, and we'll work on getting you on your feet.
Okay, perfect.
Woo!